where it all starts.
So you mentioned the fact of some of those expenses, talking about your children and everything. I've watched a couple of your videos. That's one of my most favorite strategies. And those of you that have been on my Hangouts or you've heard me speak and so forth, unfortunately, I don't have children. So I have never used this strategy. But Mark, how do you...
Hey, Eric, let me tell you, it's not worth the write-off.
Okay, all right. Well, I will
so you're not missing out.
So for those that do have them...
Yeah, us parents with teenagers, we need the write-off, or we're going to go crazy. So you don't need the write-off. You just enjoy the ride, baby. So
okay, well, I'll enjoy the ride and keep helping other people. But how do you use this strategy personally?
Well, okay, so in a nutshell, once you start a small business, and this is a big topic. I mean, this is a chapter in my book, but and I don't know if there's any particular way I need to diagram it, but you know, I love to write on the board here. But so say, here's your small business. Now I'm just going to assume this is a sole proprietorship. If you have a great assumption. Yeah. If you have an S corporation or an LLC, maybe you have some rental property, a small business consulting, maybe you're selling an MLM, MonaV or Amway or whatever, great. Maybe you're selling jeans on eBay with an internet-based business. That's fine. The variations of this are going to be different, but here's the concept. So basically with your sole proprietorship, when your revenue comes in, and then we're going to write off as many as expenses as we can, you've got your net down here. Now I'm worried about self-employment tax, and this is where the S corporation becomes a planning point, maybe for another Google chat. I have a whole video on that.
Absolutely.
But here with the kids, there's two strategies. Now I talk about, I have a whole slide on how to pay grandkids, a whole slide to pay your kids that are over age 18 but act like they're under age 18. That's a whole other strategy too. But let's just talk about kids. Let's talk about kids under age 18. I think having kids on the payroll, there's two reasons why. Number one, your kids don't pay any taxes on the first $6,100 this year. They don't. Justin Bieber does not pay taxes on this first $6,100. That's his earned income. So if your kids go work at McDonald's, they can earn $6,100. They don't pay taxes, but you still can claim them as an exemption and a dependent. That's great. So the first issue is that they can earn money and escape tax on that first chunk of money. The second point that's beneficial here is that when you pay your own kids, you don't have to pay Social Security, FICA, SUTA, FUTA, workers' comp, none of that. You can slave labor your own kids. So this is great to get your kids on payroll because you're getting all these extra write-offs and you don't have to issue a W-2. You don't have to give them a 1099. You just call it outside labor. So here in a sole proprietorship, if you've got 2 or 3 kids, I call it outside labor, and you need to justify what the kids are doing in the business. It needs to be legitimate. I've got 4 teenagers. 2 of my kids are working for me tonight. My son helps me with my YouTube videos, my video editing. He's an 18-year-old. He just finished he graduates this year. He did the high school course on video editing and camera. He was one of those kids doing the show every Friday in the high school. Wonderful. Kids know computers better than we do, folks. Get them involved in your business. My girls help with QuickBooks. They scan paperwork. My daughter that's 10 years old, she's my paper shredding administrator. So she shreds all the paper. So every one of my kids has a job, and each one has their own debit card, and they have their own bank account. So I transfer money to their bank account, and here's the trick, people. Quit paying taxes and giving your kids money. Put them on the payroll, let them pay their own things. So my daughter that's 10, she pays for her own school lunch, her own clothes, her own music lessons or dance lessons or birthday parties. Now, there's some balancing here. I'm not going to pay her 20 grand. She's only 10 years old. But I can pay her $3,000 or $4,000, you know, $200 or $300 a month, and she helps shred paper and clean the office and go to the rental properties and mow lawns and pull weeds. So it's a wonderful way to integrate your kids into the business. And with my 4 kids, I'm going to take a write-off of close to 15 to 20 grand in combination with my 4 kids. That's 20 grand for crap I was going to pay for anyway. But now I've got them on payroll, and they're going to pay for their own expenses. So again, this is a chapter in my book. You want to integrate it into your situation, and this is why I want you to have a small business. Folks, here's the deal. Can't you think of maybe even $4,000 to $5,000 of expenses in any given month? By the time you pay kids, do auto, some travel, some home office, some dining, Maybe it's just a couple thousand a month. If you can think of $2,000 a month of expenses that would relate to a small business, that means you can go out and create $24,000 of tax-free income. So you just go out and make 24 grand. I already got write-offs of 24 grand sitting here. So you just created $24,000 at your current tax rate. This is why the Mitt Romneys and the Warren Buffetts have a lower tax rate, because they use the small business and big business strategy of shifting expenses into their net income. So you can do the same thing. Bring those expenses above the line, shift your effective tax rate down even lower. You're making more money and paying less taxes. Boom! That's where it's at, baby. Here, there we go. See, that's where it's at.
That's where it's at. That's what I'm talking about. So, you know, a lot of times people ask me in their network marketing business,